We're about to get into someone who works for Ovidio by the name of Calacas, which means basically death. Calaquear is like when you die. Anyways, if you'd like to support the channel, in the description there's a link to buy me a coffee, or you can do so in Super Chat. As well, you could become a member to the channel, get access to videos before anyone else does, or in Patreon, same setup, you get access to videos, but different ones than if you're a member. And if you have nothing but your time, which I appreciate more than anything, as time is our most valuable resource, my friends, please take a second of that time to smash on that like button. Leave a comment down below. I greatly appreciate it. And let's get into this. You see, El Calacas works in Jesus Maria, which is Ovidio's hometown. And he's 19 years old. He was sitting talking about mi trabajo es bien chingón, which is like, I've got the best job, basically, he's saying. And he said it with pride. And then he said, they pay me to detect, government officials or anyone else who's come to bother my boss. Now, we have to understand his job's a puntero, or a lookout, also known as a halcón, which is an extremely important position because everyone's trusting you with their lives at the end of the day, because if you don't call something in, it could cost them their life. If you didn't see the video I did on the person who was tortured for 2 months straight, that's an exact example of this. He was a puntero and messed up. Now, El Calacas, actually said he preferred being a lookout and that his father was his example, but they killed his father when he didn't have too much time in this, in this line of work. And he said if they hadn't killed him, he'd probably be one of the people right below the boss working for him, basically an underboss, I think is what you call it in American organized crime. Now, he also said right after that his first step into that life was as a halcón, but he never wanted to get out of that. He actually liked it. There's other positions like sicario, things like that, but he didn't want to be in that. And he liked working directly for the boss, so he stayed in that line as a halcón, as a lookout, but moved up as far as he could have been first, like out on the corner, just watching whatever, to the point that he was the last line before you got to his boss, looking out for him personally, maybe in front of his house or on the corner. I think you guys understand that. Now, he said he never finished high school, even though he tried. And when he did go look for legal work, he realized nothing paid, more than $5 a day. And that's true. That's about how much you make in legal work here. He also said he knows the risk of working in these groups, but he likes the adventure, the adrenaline, and the danger sometimes. And they pay him 500 pesos a day, which is like $25, which is good money, especially here in Mexico at the end of the day, if you want the truth. And he said often he gets tips, or they come bring him food, depending on what's going on and how much money is going around. He said it's worth the risk to him, for the money he makes, and that the day this happened, when they went and got Ovidio, that there was dead people all over the place, and he was working that day. He also said that he knows when the second Culicanazo went down, that he personally called in for reinforcements to come help Ovidio out. He said, un compa me pidió que le hiciera paro, that a friend of his asked him for help, and that they, spread out as fast as they could to try to reinforce every point that they could, because anybody who was puntero, whatever you were, they were needing you for other things at that time to, throw down probably with the government. Now, he said that the military was all over the place like rabid dogs, but at the end of the day, it was a massacre, due to the helicopter fire and everything that went on. He also said that we're always breathing death. Siempre estamos respirando la muerte. But in occasions, the situations or the engagements, they're life or death. And to be honest, I like that. I like being in the air. It's part of my work as a lookout, and I'm proud of what I do, and that I've been contracted to be one of the people personally looking out for the boss or el patron. Now, he said he likes smoking herb. That's one of the only things he's allowed to do. And he can pass his time freely, not like a normal job. He can just light up there on the corner and gets paid for it at the end of the day. Now, he also said that a lot of his friends work in the military as well, and they're giving information directly from them. But most of them let them work with tranquility. There's an agreement usually between people in organized crime and the government, especially here in Sinaloa. It's called the quota, where they're paid something every week or every month, and they just let these people work at the end of the day. And that does avoid lots of violence, instead of them constantly fighting in between each other. Now, he also said about La Guerra, when they went to came out Raton, the rat, that's Ovidio's code name, and it's not insulting. They call him the rat because he's always able to escape from the traps the government puts on him and everything. But this time he didn't. That in this region, this is our bread, our daily bread. This is how most of the people eat from there. And when we saw what was going on with all the soldiers coming in, they knew that they were coming for Ovidio because he's the only leader that lives in this area, and obviously is the most high value target. And especially after the first Culicanazo, they already knew what was coming. It's already happened before, but this time the government came a lot harder and with a lot sharper teeth. And to be honest, if they would have been able to take out the military, this is my opinion, not his. If they would have been able to take out the military's air power that day, they wouldn't have been able to do anything with Ovidio. The only reason they were able to pressure him was due to the Blackhawks in the air, the planes. That was the advantage they had that the Sicarios didn't, was air power. And that's why in the first Culicanazo, one of the reasons between the beef and between Mayo and Chapo's people is Chapo's sons are asking Mayo to take out the helicopters because he has power to knock down, he has anti-air, he probably has stingers, stuff like that. And Mayo denied it. He said, I'm not killing soldiers for something, no, it's just not happening. And that obviously caused a lot of beef because he basically denied to help them that day. And shortly after that, they took it out on El Russo and kicked him out of Culiacan, which was one of Mayo's lieutenants. But point being, Mayo definitely has the power to knock down the military's air, but the Chapitos don't. And you would think after the first time, when they knew that was the big advantage the military had over him, they would have learned from their mistakes and beefed up their defenses as far as being able to take out the military's helicopter or their airplane. But they didn't, and the same thing happened. It just repeated itself, but this time the military came a lot stronger. And if they would have been prepared and would have taken out that air power, we would have been looking at a completely different story. And that's already happened before. You can look at the times they tried to capture a Mencho. They've lost several helicopters in trying to do that. So this isn't anything that hasn't happened before, that I'm making up, or whatever people think. These groups are very powerful and capable of knocking down the military's, helicopters or whatever they put in the air. But for some reason, the Chapitos didn't think the government was going to come like they did last time, or maybe they were so overconfident because they got him out the first time, they thought the same tricks would work again, that they just cause enough hell and they'll let him go. But that's obviously not what happened, and now they're paying the price to a large extent because it looks like Ovidio is probably going to end up in a prison like ADX right beside his dad, and they're not going to let him go ever. From all the deaths, there's over 100,000 last year from fentanyl, and due to the fact Chapitos are supplying a large amount of this illicit substance, I think that's the main thing they have against him more than anything, and that's really what turned up the heat, was this whole business with the Fenta. At the end of the day, that's what's causing all this attention to be focused on them, and they're just producing mass quantities of it. And it's a mess, I'll be honest. I don't understand the business plan of killing your customers to start with. Why are you going to sell something when it's going to kill the people buying? They can't keep buying if they're dead. But each to their own, and I'm obviously not in charge of this, so maybe there's something I don't understand there. But as a business plan, it doesn't make sense to me. That's my personal opinion, once again, my friends. Either way, let me know what you guys think in the comments. If they would have taken out air power, do you think things would have been different? Or do you think they would have had another way to make this work? Sale, vale. I'll leave you guys with that thought. Adios.